And then after, like, at the end of the weekend, it was like Friday afternoon, I got out there. I couldn't stand up on it. All day Saturday, I was up there and just couldn't figure it out. But Sunday, it was like the middle of the day, and it was just this nice, glassy, mellow little, longboard day. And, this was going back, this is, 18 years ago.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as crowded now as it is then, but there were people in the water. It was the summertime. And I remember I stood up and I was like, okay, I get it. This is fucking cool. And I want to do this more. And then, I started surfing. Then I bought like a Robert August, like a 9.2.
A very good board.
From the surf shop on the Upper East Side.
Pipe Dreams.
Pipe Dreams.
Back in the day.
Yeah, and I dropped in on Danny tomorrow.
Ooh.
I was like,
how did that go? That was when Danny was pretty gnarly.
He was pretty gnarly. Yeah, I love Danny tomorrow. So if you're listening to this, Danny, I love you.
AKA Tanny tomorrow.
But I didn't know, I didn't know the etiquette. I didn't know the rules. And he was coming from he was 150 yards away from me.
Yeah.
I couldn't even see him. And then he just splashes water in my face. And he's like, did I do something to you? What the fuck was that all about? And I was kind of like, huh? And he didn't talk to me for 2 years. And then finally, when I just was still around, he was kind of like, hey, what's up? And now, he's like my brother. I love the guy.
I love that he's like, did I do something to you?
Yeah,
it's I've done that too. I find that to be a very New York kind of thing too. It's like there's that Jewish kind of, even though he's not Jewish, it's like this Jewish guilt. Like, what did I do something to you? Did I hurt your feelings?
The man is spicy. It's kind of like. A lot of those guys, they've mellowed out a little bit over the years, but in a sense, it was good having that out there because I learned that if I want to continue to do this, I need to be mindful of what the etiquette is.
Yeah.
For safety's sake and, just so everyone has a good time. I didn't know, so I learned pretty quickly and I picked it up, but there were a lot of enforcers back then.
Yeah, there were.
A lot of them, heavy cats in the coves with mustaches on big days. And you sort of waited your turn, or I used, surf the Alamo a bunch.
Yeah.
I'd paddle out there. I would just sit on the outside and wait, and then someone would give you a nod and then you'd go in and get a wave and then you'd sit outside again, you didn't just oh, this is mine. It's a fucking free for all.
Yeah.
It doesn't, you had to kind of earn your stripes a little bit, and that's probably one of the reasons why I started surfing so early in the morning because no one's out there.
Exactly.
There's this really good group of dawn patrollers that I'm tight with. And one of these guys, he'll text me at 4:30 in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
And he's like, I just looked at, turtles, it's not happening. And I just looked at, dickies, it's not happening. Radars, it's not happening. I'm going back to ditch. But you can tell the swell angles a little bit. I might just drive by Gosman's really quickly. And this is pre-dawn, know? And I'm like, all right, let me know where you get in. I'll come meet you,
So when did you make the decision to move out to Montauk then? Because you have a place out there.
We started off at the East Deck. My wife and I would get 6 weekends out of the summer.
Oh, rest in peace.
And we love the East Deck. Alice was awesome. That whole just ties back to that sense of community.
Yeah.
The people that went to the East Deck every summer would book rooms for the whole summer.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd roll up onto the deck and it's the same people you saw every summer, and they'd been coming for years and years and years. And there was this really nice scene there. It was great. Everybody was chill. Everybody was would do a big sort of potluck, cookout in the backyard by the pool there. And it was awesome. And Alice would have yoga classes in the morning, and it was great. And then when my son was born, we rented a place in Ditch.
Mm-hmm.
And then another summer went by, and we're like, what? We want to put down some roots here. We really like the place. And we rode our bikes around the neighborhood, and we were kind of like, what, if a place comes up in Ditch, that's a fixer-upper, we'll jump on it. And it just sort of, listen, I'm a huge believer in manifesting your own reality.
Mm-hmm.
You woke up one day and you're like, I'm going to have a podcast. Dude, we're in Rock Center right now.
Yeah.
In front of microphones with fancy headphones on our head. People
with
are
the window on
the
street.
You have a podcast. It's that easy. You just decide that you want to do something and just fucking go and do it, and whatever comes up, the obstacles that come up along the way, you're like, nah, I'm going to outwork that. Nah, I'm good. I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
And you just manifest it. I wanted to have a house in Montauk. So I just worked my ass off and saved a bunch of money, and a place just popped up, and we got it. And, it flooded, and the whole thing was a disaster, but that's another story. But we rebuilt it, and, we've had a place out there for about, 16 years now.
What's, I wanted to ask about the place, but now I'm kind of I want to kind of follow this thread of your mindset here. like, where did this come from? Did you always grow up with this kind of can-do attitude, this I'm just going to do this kind of thing, this positivity?
That's a good question, though. I kind of like, it's sort of like I was a terrible student, right? I was never really good at school. You know, I got like C's. Like a B for me was a huge stretch, and like I'm math challenged, which is why I chose a career in finance. You know? So, but it was always kind of one of those things like, I'll be fine. You know, I'll just outwork everybody. You know, when I first started working, there was a guy who was one of my first clients, and he's like, listen, you don't understand how the mechanics of the balance sheet of a company work, but you can out hustle everybody because I see how hard you work. Just do that and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And it was always kind of like, I always had this wanting to work. Like I didn't like growing up in the suburbs and being broke.
Yeah.
You know, you're always hitting your parents up for money and there's nowhere to go and there's nothing to do. I was like, fuck it, I'll just get a job. So I worked at the gas station. I walked there from my house and I worked there after school just pumping gas. I did that for like 3 years. And then I got I saved up enough money to buy my own car. And then I was into cycling at the time. So I got a job at the bike shop and I was in the back. And this was at the Pleasant Valley Cycles in Chatham, New Jersey. And it was run by this old guy who was an actual track cyclist champion in like the 30s and 40s. His name was John Hanst.
No way.
And he looked like a fucking barrel. I mean, literally, his thighs were just enormous from all the years on the cycling. And he was really short, too. He was like 5'6". And he was old and just like he was in his 70s. And he was like, you're gonna work for me. You'll fuck this up, kid. He was like one of those old school guys. And I was like, I want a job in the back, you know, fixing the bikes. And he's like, all right, do you know how to fix bikes? And I was like, not really. But he's like, yeah, you'll go figure it out. So I went into the back and I was there for like 2 weeks and they just had me like, you know, tuning up bicycles. And I kind of didn't know what I was doing, but whatever. And then the sales guy was out one day and like a family came in and they were looking around on the floor. And he's like, Greg, get out there. I'm like, I don't know. What are you talking about? He's like, kid, get out there or I'm going to throw you out on the street. I'm like, all right, John, I'm out there. So I sold them 4 bicycles.
Wow.
Yeah, like the whole family. And he was just like, if I ever see you in the back with a wrench in your hand, I'm going to break your neck. Stay on the floor, sell the bicycles. You're a natural kid. Just stay at it. So I sold bicycles for like 2 years in high school. Like people would come in and I'd be like, I know exactly what you need. Like, you know, I know what's right for you. Mm-hmm. You know, you just read people.
Yeah.
It wasn't about selling bicycles or anything. It's just like, I don't know. I like people.
Yeah.
You know, you meet people and you're like, I've always been able to find something to talk about with everyone that I've ever met.
Same.
With the exception of like 2 humans.
Yeah.
Who are just miserable assholes. but I've, you know, whatever. It just, people like, everyone sort of vibrates on a different frequency. Like, listen, like when you're tuned in to your mindset, you know, it's like you're listening to like WBRUR, all brewer, all the time, all the hits.
Giggity, giggity.
Yeah. Next up, Michael Mcdonald into Steely Dan, followed up with some Fleetwood Mac.
Ooh, I like this. I like this mix.
We're gonna be listening to Fugazi and Heat Miser. But that's like, you know, that's the vibe that you vibrate on. You have a frequency. Yeah. I have a frequency. Everyone has a frequency. And when you're dialed into that, like your mind is a stereo. I mean, you can sort of stay in that mind space where everything is like a good song, like on a good radio station, the world just falls into place. So when you meet someone and you can sort of feel what they're vibrating on, you're like, all right, I get you. You know, I see you. Because you can sense fear, you can sense timidness, you can sense, is this guy gonna take advantage of me?
Right.
This guy wants something from me. All that, if you just need to be open to it, you know, and it's just like tuning a stereo into the right station, and you find that station and just flow. You find the flow, and it's like surfing is the same way.
Yeah,
if you're trying to force it, it doesn't work.
No,
you know? It doesn't work at all.
Oh gosh, I mean,
you have to let go. You have to surrender. It's the same thing.
There's been so many sessions where I've had where you have an expectation. You're paddling out, and you're like, I'm gonna surf like this, and the waves may even look really good and you're thinking, I need to do this. And it doesn't go that way, you know, for whatever reason. And you're holding on to this idea of how you should be surfing as opposed to just flowing with it. And
oh boy,
when you are able to let go.
Nailed a big life metaphor, Tyler. You're holding on to the way things are supposed to go.
That's right.
Dude, the more you do that, the more fucked you are.
It's so true. You
just
know,
have to let your karma unfold the way it does. And it's a very chaotic pattern. There is no pattern to how it unfolds. I
No.
mean, like weird, terrible shit happens in life, but that's just your karma unfolding exactly the way it's supposed to. And then beautiful, amazing things happen in life. But if you just, rip the duality out from that, like that's not good or bad. It just is.
Yeah.
I went surfing. It just is. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It just was. And you're okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
You're back in that flow. You're back on WBRUR, all brewer all the time.
I read somewhere, I was listening to someone who said, like, get rid of the word should from your vocabulary, because that is what a lot of times fumbles us. It's like, it should be like this. Oh, that should be. Should is a word we need to remove almost, because it sets that expectation of how things should be, rather than what is. And I think that's a really, it's not easy, like it's easier said than done, but to be able to, with surfing particularly, when you can just get into that flow and not fight the current sometimes, just kind of let the waves take you where you need to go. Maybe your body's telling you, all right, I'm not going to be a shredder today. I'm just going to cruise today. And then when you accept that, it's way more enjoyable.
I mean, that's what we're out there to have fun, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there are guys that need to have that element of human challenge to the wave or just to the experience, because, that's what makes them feel balanced. And like it's different for everybody. Like some people, it's like 2 foot glassy and they're just cruising on like an 11-foot glider. Like I'm balanced there. And then there's guys that are like, it needs to be like a 15-foot face and cold as fuck. I need to have my 654 on, just out there, like, grrr, like, let's go, nature. Come on, bring it on. But that's where they feel balanced.
Exactly.
And that's calming for them because, the madness inside their mind shuts off when they're in that sort of fight or flight kind of element. It's something interesting. So like, listen, everyone listens to a lot of podcasts, and everyone, like, I feel like something really great that's come out of this pandemic is that people understand that if they're healthier, their immune system is more apt to keep them alive. So if you're overweight, if you have diabetes, if you have hypertension, if you have all these things that are going on in your body, which are really treatable with just diet and exercise, you can have a healthier, better lifestyle and protect yourself from crazy shit that's created in a lab.
Yeah.
Right? That somehow mysteriously escapes. So a lot of the, the people that, you hear about and you listen to, they're talking about, doing things that are beneficial to the immune system. And one of those things is getting your body into this fight or flight response. So surfing is kind of like that, especially like when it's a big day, it's a little scary. You get your adrenaline pumping. When your adrenaline pumps, all of these chemicals and
cortisone
and fire, there's like all this stuff in your brain kicks into like overdrive. It's like your reptilian brain is like, wait a second, I'm being chased by an animal.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go. I need to run now. I need to like save myself. I need to be balanced. I need to be poised. I need to be sharp. I need to execute this. It's so healthy for you. The majority of our time that we spend is in a 72-degree controlled environment, wearing clothes, and we're never uncomfortable. We're comfortable all the time. So you got to get uncomfortable if you want to have all those reactions in your body. So people are doing, a lot of cold therapy and like sitting in ice baths. They're sitting in saunas. They're getting out in the elements and doing things they normally wouldn't do. And, the more you're involved with surfing and, the natural activity and like being in the ocean, it's an unnatural thing.
Yeah.
But that feeling gets addictive, for health reasons, for the, whatever gets firing in your brain, the dopamine.
Well, I've started doing yoga every morning this summer. And, one of the things they say is learn to sit with that discomfort in a pose.
I mean, I did. The cool thing about Montauk is there's a lot of people that are like world class at whatever they are. And there's a woman out there who is a world class Ashtanga teacher.
Oh, wow.
She's maybe one of like 16 people in North America that really trained with the guy that invented the practice.
Oh, wow.
So I got to practice with her for several years and learned a ton. And it kind of changed my life.
Yeah.
So like yoga is not just the movement, down dog, up dog. There's like a whole nother lifestyle that goes along with it, So when people ask me like, do you still practice yoga? I'm like, I'm always practicing yoga.
Yeah.
I'm just not doing asanas right now.
Yeah.
It's like a different thing. But it's like, I lost my train of thought here, but you were saying like you started doing yoga.
Well, I was saying like you have to learn to sit with that discomfort in a pose. You know, it's really important to not be comfortable. You